Super Earth is safe once more, but the war still rages on. One man has a loadout that you need, and his name is Cal.
Yes, this video is all about my brother-in-arms' loadout. This is the Cal loadout, plus my Cal-inspired loadout, which are both great for the Illuminate and Terminids. Let's go. Primary weapon. The ALS17 double-edged sickle, aka the Dickle. First released as part of the Servants of Freedom Premium Warband, it operates like an assault rifle shooting targets with a barrage of laser pulses, doing increasingly more damage both in output and to the user after prolonged firing. It starts at low armor penetration, and as the heat increases, so does the damage and the armor penetration, ramping up to heavy armor penetration. Because this is a heat-based weapon, like all heat-based weapons, you can pretty much run this indefinitely without actually having to find any additional ammo. As long as you stop before you burn out the coil, you can just let it cool down, reset, and off you go again. Secondary weapon. The GP31 Ultimatum, another weapon from the Servants of Freedom Premium Warband. A powerful, single-shot sidearm that fires extremely destructive anti-tank explosive rounds. It is capable of killing most enemies in the game with a single shot. In fact, it'll kill any heavy enemy smaller than a Factory Strider with a direct impact. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, yes, for obvious reasons, it can't be fired very far and has a very low ammo capacity. So the trade-off is low ammo, but high destructive capabilities. Grenades. The G123 Thermites. We got these as part of the Democratic Detonation Premium Warband. These are designed to adhere to surfaces and inflicts heavy explosive damage to a single target after a roughly 3-second delay. Great for taking out chunkier enemies such as flesh mobs, harvesters, chargers, etc, etc. Just throw, stick, run and forget. Let's move on to the stratagems. First up is a returning favourite of mine, it's the Eagle 500 kg bomb. A large bomb obliterating almost any target close to impact. This stratagem is probably the most useful stratagem in the game in my opinion, and I know Cal would agree with me on this. It destroys the likes of grounded Illuminate ships, harvesters, large groups of enemies, chargers, bile titans, the list goes on. Every loadout of mine contains this. A nice big boom makes this Helldiver smile. Next up is the Orbital Napalm Barrage. It's a prolonged barrage of napalm shells spread over a wide radius which will explode and set everything nearby ablaze. With the recent changes to how fire damage works, especially on larger enemies, this stratagem is probably at its most powerful it's ever been. It can be extremely devastating and easily able to rack up a large amount of kills if you put it in the right place. Perfect for throwing onto the likes of bug breaches, as it keeps all of those bugs completely contained. Whilst it may not kill the larger enemies at times, although I have witnessed it take down bile titans before, it certainly will weaken them massively. Moving on, we have the AG16 Gatling Sentry, an automated turret with an extremely high rate of fire. It is effective at destroying large crowds of small to medium sized enemies. Warning, it does not check if friendly units are in the line of fire, so use with caution. Placement is key, so try to get this in an elevated position or somewhere it can obliterate the enemies without harming the squad. The final stratagem is the AC-8 autocannon, a fully automatic cannon that fires explosive armor-piercing projectiles or flak shells for crowd control. I run this in flat mode for the large percentage of time, only switching to affect rounds when really needed. Great for taking out tight clusters of small and medium-sized enemies. Tip: using flak shells at close range is much more hazardous than affect because the shrapnel is liable to fly back towards you and cause critical injuries. Therefore, maintaining distance is key to avoiding this. The last piece of the Cal loadout is the armour, light armour, such as the IO9 Heatseeker for the inflammable passive. This provides 75% damage resistance to fire. This complements the self-fire damage that you will sustain from the usage of the Dickle, plus it keeps you nimble and keeps you on the move. So how does my Cal-inspired loadout differ? Well, I use a different primary and secondary weapon, which then means I no longer require the use of fire armour, so this then becomes a personal choice. Use whatever you want, whatever feels good for you. So that's technically 3 changes. The fourth is I replace one stratagem. So let's dig in. Primary weapon, the AR23P Liberator penetrator, a modified Liberator fitted with a scope and firing armour-piercing rounds. It does less damage per bullet than the standard Liberator, before taking into account any durability factors. However, if you do take them into account, which is exactly what happens during gameplay, and with the medium armour penetration, it actually has a 33% increased damage advantage. You can even unlock a drum magazine for this weapon, meaning more bullets can be fired before needing to reload. Hive guards, alphas, stalkers, brood commanders, they all fall before it. Secondary weapon, the LAS58 Talon. It's available as part of the Borderline Justice Premium Warbond, an energy-based semi-automatic laser revolver that fires pulses similar to the LAS Sickle, or the Dickle. It has medium armour penetration, so you can take small and medium-sized enemies out with it. If you run this gun correctly, just like the Dickle and the Sickle, you'll never need to find any ammo for it. Just fire 5 to 6 shots in quick succession, then allow the weapon to cool down before going again. The final change is to replace the Orbital Napalm Barrage with the Orbital Precision Strike, a single precision shot from the destroyer's Atlas cannon. It has a fast base cooldown of 90 seconds, reducing to roughly 77 seconds with all the ship upgrades. Another great tool for taking care of groups and heavier enemies. And that's it, folks. Those are my s-teir Cal loadouts. Please put your loadouts in the comments below. I love seeing what you guys use. Smash that thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to the channel with all notifications turned on. It'll be greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Pardo out.